Reagan and welcome to my June TBR. To be totally honest, for the month of June, I really don't know what I feel like reading, but I do know I'm gonna try to read as much as possible because I am behind on my Goodreads challenge. Anyone else? That being said, I do have a collection of books here that feel like they might be what I want to read, but you know, we'll see. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. So the first book I'm going to talk about should be a given because I've been reading it now for 2 months, and that is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I'm halfway through this. I'm going to finish this definitely, hopefully, in the first couple months of June. I'm really liking it. There's something wrong with this book. It's really interesting and incredible, and there are plot elements that literally give me nightmares. It's not scary, but you know, they've invaded my dreams anyway. But this is basically about a once very powerful city with all of its inhabitants having incredible power. They could heal, they could like create beautiful items for people from all over to admire. But then one day the city has transformed from one of like reverence to doomed. Basically all the inhabitants were cursed, and now people wake up with a kind of like disease and they're sent to Elantris and locked in. We follow a multitude of different perspectives of different players within this space. Some of them live in Elantris, some live outside of the kingdom, but all of their fates very much appear to be intertwined. I'm not quite sure how yet because I'm only halfway through, but gonna finish. Loving a lot. Next up, I have Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I don't know, this just sounds like a really fun science fiction novel. It's one of my most anticipated books of the year, so I feel like this could be the fast-paced read I need to kind of get me back into reading for this summer. But this is a really fun space combat inspired novel. We basically follow a group of recent graduates to this very prestigious space academy. One of our main characters is at the top of the class, but then something unexpected happened where when he's actually picking his crew, instead of having the best of the best to pick from, like himself, he has the dregs of the academy, a bunch of misfits that no one wants on their team. And worst of all, one of the members is Aurora, been in like sleep for the past 2,000 years. It sounds really good. I really love Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, and while I don't think this is gonna be anything like that, I do love space and pilots and fighting and space combat and stuff like that. I do love that. So I'm hoping to really enjoy this, and I'm hoping it's really funny, though I have a feeling it definitely will be. The book I have is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I have had this book on my shelf for a few months now, and it just sounds like the perfect summer read. And this, I believe, is kind of like a historical thriller with like weird magic thrown in there. I'm not totally sure, but the synopsis definitely sold me. It says, the rules of Blackheath. Evelyn Hardcastle will be murdered at 11 p.m. There are 8 days and 8 witnesses for you to inhabit. We will only let you escape once you tell us the name of the killer. Understood? Let's begin. It kind of has like an Agatha Christie-esque style vibe. I love a good whodunit situation, and I'm hoping this has some like quirky, peculiar twist to it that will kind of keep me going right through the narrative. But yes, I feel like this would be a really great fast-paced summer read, so I added it to the TBR. Next, I have Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I absolutely loved her first debut novel, which is Everything I Never Told You. This is being adapted into a Hulu original series by Reese Witherspoon, which I really want to watch, but I definitely feel like I have to read the book before doing so. This is a novel that has been on my TBR for years, ever since it came out, which I think was last year, which is very embarrassing that I have not gotten to it yet. But this is another kind of suburban drama set in a town in Ohio and follows a variety of different families and kind of their conflicts against each other. I, again, love Celeste Ng. Need to read this book. It needs to happen. I've only heard incredible things. It's gonna do. I'm gonna read it. Next, I have Kiva for the Lost Cities and Nightfall by Shannon Messenger. This is book 6 to the Kiva for the Lost Cities series, which you guys know I have been reading every single month since I started in December. Love it so much. The 5th book especially ended or was just an entirely incredible novel all the way through. So I feel like I need to read this book ASAP because that one left me in a kind of a mess at the end of it. So I need to know what happens next. But this is an incredible middle grade, fantasy-centered story following a huge cast of characters, lots of friendship and love, and it will just like fill your heart with joy and crush it a million times over as well. But it mostly follows our main character Sophie, who discovers she's an elf, she can read minds, she starts going to a magic school, and she's like set in the center of this very big conspiracy that's kind of turning the elven world on its head. I love it. Keefy for life. That's all I have to say. Definitely reading book 6. Next is the book I'm actually reading right now, and that is Sorcery of Thorns. I received an arc of this, and it's kind of been like staring at me at my shelf since, and I'm like, I need to pick that book up. It's also one of my most anticipated books of the year. I loved An Enchantment of Ravens by this author that I read last year, and I'm hoping this is kind of a YA fantasy with a dash of angsty romance. I really want something with some angst in it. My friend Monica is reading this. I think she's actually finished it, and she really liked it, so I'm taking that as a hopeful sign that this is gonna be like exactly what I need. But this is a story set in a world where magic is considered evil and sorcery is contained within these tomes that are stored within libraries. Our main character, Elizabeth, is training to be kind of a warden to protect the world from these evil tomes, because once the magic is released from these books, they turn into these like evil monsters that reign terror on society. At the beginning of the story, something happens where a bunch of tomes are open in the library she works at, and she is blamed for this occurrence. I'm only about like 30 pages in, but so far so good. Again, I love The Enchantment of Ravens by this same author, and I'm hoping for some angst. And the very last book I'm gonna talk about, which I feel like will be my next commute book, is City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. I read Founders Side by Robert Jackson Bennett last winter, obsessed with it, so I wanted to check out his completed trilogy. And this is a story that also centers around a city that was once very powerful and controlled by gods and is now kind of fallen apart and society has crumbled along with it. Basically, the city of Belikov once wielded the powers of gods to conquer the world, enslaving and brutalizing millions until its divine protectors were killed. Now, the city's history has been censored and erased and its citizens are subjugated. I don't know. Sounds really good. Again, I love this author, so I'm gonna check it out. Next commute book for sure, hoping to marathon this whole trilogy this summer. Alrighty guys, those are all the books I hope to read in the month of June. Let me know down below some books you really hope to get to this month, as I would love to know, and I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye.